So do you have time for a third? How do you want to?
Um, what is it?
About
Yeah, we can
about
do a
10
third
after?
if you want to, or we
Yeah.
can just yeah. I mean, we can
I just think
continue.
when we get to spots like this where we're on a roll, and today we've cut them both at approximately 30 minutes.
Yeah, and I
Mathematically, it's
like
going to
that.
leave us time. Yeah,
Okay. All right. Well, let's
mathematically, it's going to leave
continue
us
then.
time.
So I'll give a brief. You want to give a brief intro this time about Ben
Yeah, we're
Franklin?
back, and we talked it out and decided to do a third one for the week. Hopefully, you agree. I don't think that's a good idea too. We talked about temperance. We jumped into silence, and then she actually
And
practiced that one this time, gang. We
yeah,
stopped the episode after silence or at
yeah,
silence.
at silence. Now that one would be. I mean, I think it's the trifling conversation where he says avoid trifling conversation. I hate trifling conversation anyway, as you said at the end
Yeah,
of the previous episode. Being an introvert, I prefer to be home alone anyway. I don't want to go to the cocktail party like Howard
really.
Stern doesn't want to go to the cocktail party and have
See,
and
now
talk
he
about the
does
weather.
though.
I hate that. I hate that.
Yeah,
I
see, now
love
he likes
talking to
being a
people.
socialite.
What was that?
Now he and his second wife Beth, they actually like going and having friends and getting out. But I think it's more having friends as opposed to going to the big
Yes.
house party where that person likes to feel
Yes.
important because
I
everybody's
was
there.
I was just going to say that. I like talking to people. I like
Yeah,
conversation, but I don't like having to go and say, "So, how are you? What's new? What's the weather like?" I hate that kind of stuff. So, I wouldn't have trouble with that. Speak not what may benefit others or yourself. I think I'm pretty good with that. Even though I
yeah,
talk a lot, I think I'm pretty good with that. Okay, so number 3. Number 3 is a problem for me. Number 3 is order. Let all your things have their places. Let part of your business have its time. And I think a lot of people today violate this one in their mm, use of technology. I mean, once I get on
oh, yeah,
one, I mean, I'm social media. I'm not too bad about that, but once I get on to looking at all my emails that I should dump, but I save. I'm terrible.
yeah.
And once I start working, I sometimes don't stop. Once I start reading, sometimes I read way past the time I should be fixing dinner or whatever. I don't ever get to cleaning my house, throwing things away as I vow that I will. I mean, my sister-in-law a number of years ago, this was pre-COVID, but my sister-in-law, I had a thing that every week we would get together and share what we have thrown out as a way of cleaning out our house, right? As
Wow.
opposed to hoarding, right? And so we did really very well for a while. And then COVID happened and everything came to a standstill, and we haven't been able to get back to that since. But of course, I've taken on a whole lot of projects since that. I've taken on Be Inspired. I've
Yeah.
taken on the Boyertown Area Expression. I've taken on Both Sides Now. And so my time is eaten up by all my projects. And there's not enough time to keep my house in order. So I violate that one. That one. Oh God. I'm not virtuous in that. How about you?
So 21 years in the Secret Service and 23 years in law enforcement. All my things literally have had their place. And if I wasn't wearing my gun and I reached into my gear bag at that certain spot and did not grab my gun, there's a problem because it's only ever one of three places: on my hip, in my bag, or in my hands. And so that's kind of and it's Like we can reload our weapons blindfolded. We can do it with one hand. All this tactical stuff. And to do that, everything has its place.
Now,
You
I
know,
want to know, though, now that you're not a Secret Service agent, how's the house?
good and bad. Um, Clothing and things of that nature still have their place. My weapons are in another secure location. They're not here, but I have like flashlights and knives and my retired credentials, stuff like that. That's all at a certain place, and I know where that is. Um, I'm bad at filing paperwork
Mm.
because the filing cabinet, having a smaller house than the townhouse in DC or the other places I've lived throughout LA, the filing cabinet has been regulated to the garage,
Mm-hmm.
and it's in a difficult corner of the garage that I can't get to it without going outside and opening the garage door, or opening the garage door and walking around my minivan, etc.
Mm.
Because it's over by the outside corner of the house, by the junction box, the electric box for the breaker panel, and it's not right outside the door.
Aha.
Now that this room is no longer a bedroom,
Mm-hmm.
and it's in, where we now have Studio 4.0, there is a corner that is, much more readily accessible to a filing cabinet.
Mm-hmm.
Until then, however, there are piles of papers in my kitchen that need to be filed or gone through. I bet 50% of the pile is junk mail that I could get rid of.
Oh.
But because I've never gone through, I get all my bills online. So
Oh.
because I never really force myself to go through them,
Mm-hmm.
and they sit there.
Well, I'm good at that. I'm good at filing. I'm good at bills. I'm good at that. It's the rest of my life that I'm not so good at. So,
I was
I mean, I'm better
when
than
you said
some.
about that, when you said about that with your sister-in-law, do
Yeah.
you consider yourself a hoarder?
No, but other people think I am. I have a potential of keeping things that other people would throw away. So compared to some people, yeah, I am. So,
Yeah. So that was one thing. Kind of, sort of, we all have that. It's not so much an illness as much as it's a common trait, and it's the, oh, I'll go through this someday, and get to it then.
hmm,
Robert Herjavec
I know
is,
him. Yes,
you know who that
the
is
Shark
from
Tank.
Shark
Yep,
Tank. Yes,
Shark Tank. Yep.
he is one of my quotes, as we've talked about before, in that file that I have on my desktop here and on my other computer as well.
That you're going to
And that
share with the
is,
Bordertown area expression someday.
yes, yes. Well, here comes one of them.
Okay.
The day someday is not on any calendar.
Mm,
So when you say someday I'm going to start a business,
mm-hmm.
you haven't marked what day that's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
You have
Yeah,
to mark what day you're going to do this, that, or the other thing.
it's true.
And that's made a big change in my life by realizing that, and accepting that as part of my schedule. That someday isn't on it.
And I think prior to my retirement, I was a lot better at this. For example, I remember the last year of my teaching, I elected to teach 7 classes the first semester, which, normally we had 5, and, on a weird time we had 6. But I wanted to teach this leadership one-on-one class. And so I I elected to teach 7, which everybody thought was crazy. But that semester, I had to be so organized, and I was never
Yeah.
better in my entire life about having my lessons done for all 4 preparations. And I would come home on Friday and I'd clean the house and I'd make desserts and I'd make meals. I'd shop. I ironed. I was never more on top of my game than that time. Talk about order. So,
Alan
yeah.
Fager taught us that too. When I first came to Junior High West, do you remember
Okay.
that?
I
He said
remember
that
Alan Fager, but
the student athletes or some like band or chorus or something with after school activity did better academically
oh, yes,
than
because,
people who
yes.
just went right home after school and wanted to spend, oh no, I want to save that time for doing homework.
Yeah.
He was right. I did so
Hmm.
much better in seventh and eighth grade than I did in ninth.
Yeah.
And same thing with high school. When I was spending that time for myself to do my homework, I didn't do my homework.
Right. 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 Well, that's the problem with me in retirement. I really enjoy watching the grass grow, watching the leaves fall, you know, doing not what I should be doing. I don't care.
So that's not a bad thing
Well,
because you're
to a,
also in
yeah,
retirement. You've earned that time.
I like to think that, yeah, that's where
What
I am.
I've done is that and today I don't take calls anymore on a Monday
Oh,
because I don't have
good.
time to.
Yeah.
As soon as you and I are
And
done here, I go make lunch.
do
But
you give yourself time away from your studio to watch the grass grow and the leaves fall?
I'm supposed to. And in fact, at three
Okay.
o'clock today, I'm going to own up to having not done that yet when I have my next call with my therapist. But what I have
Okay.
done, even if it's only mentally, I have on my phone in the clock feature of my iPhone.
Okay.
Um, uh, so I've got all kinds of messages that I've been
Ignored.
appropriate and
Yeah.
have not. Yeah, exactly. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27 alarms
Mhm.
on my
I
phone
knew you were going to say that.
that
Yes.
go off throughout the day.
I see.
That started, I think I told you this story. That started, I
Mhm.
used my iPhone, the notepad feature on my iPhone,
Mhm.
to create a to do list.
Mhm.
And every night before bed, as I was crawling into bed, I would pull out this list and write down what I have to do the next day.
Mhm.
And finally, one day I realized I'm writing down what I got to do for tomorrow or typing in what I've got to do for tomorrow. I didn't do any of the shit that I was supposed to do today. Because
Because you forgot,
I just went about
because
my
the
day and
time,
did
yep,
whatever.
yeah,
So I set an alarm. I said, okay,
yeah,
what time tomorrow am I going to be home from work?
mhm,
Or what time tomorrow do I go into work? Like, am I 2 to 10?
mhm,
Can I do something in the
mhm.
morning? And I created and set an alarm to do just that.
That's awesome.
Two of my alarms are breakfast and lunch. I've had to set alarms to stop what I'm doing to go eat.
Mhm, mhm.
And one of those is going to go off at around 2 o'clock.
Okay, well, we'll be done by 2,
Oh, yeah.
so
But point being, there was, what did I say, 27?
yeah, that's
A lot
amazing.
of them are for things like, if I do have a call, like, at, I think it was like 11:25 or 11:30, it went off to remind me, time to sit down with Jane.
Yeah,
That another one's going to go off at 2:55 for me to get ready for my call with my therapist.
right,
Another
and
one's
I've
going to,
adopted I've adopted your strategy because I have a Zoom call at 4 o'clock
nice.
with some ladies. Yeah. And I mean, there are many days I'm doing something else. And finally, I have set an alarm to remind myself, sit down,
Yeah.
or get off whatever program you're on right now and get ready for the Zoom call. I have had to do that because I forget. So you've been a good
I
role model for me.
I love the changes I've made to my outside here. When I
Hmm.
first moved here in the fall of 2021, I put up Christmas lights on the fences that go down both sides of my backyard that were just
Hmm.
clear white lights.
Hmm.
And I also put them around the two palm trees that are in the back.
Nice.
And in all actuality, it was not just Christmas lights, but it was a little bit of an homage to old school Rehoboth Beach. If you
Oh,
went to a restaurant or a bar that had white Christmas lights in the window,
okay.
you knew that it was gay friendly.
Gotcha.
And this was before being out was as accepted as it is today. This is before the
Okay.
rainbow flag. This
Okay.
is just, we're on the down low, all of us, even the out ones.
Yep.
So, like everything all my artwork for all the podcasts and such, it's all very Illuminati. There's a symbol, there's a reason, you can
Mm-hmm.
decode them and tell a story about me. Those
Mm-hmm.
lights are part of that.
Mm-hmm.
The weather here is kind of rough, so they didn't last as long. I took them
Okay.
down. I now have 20 or so, actually more than that because there's clear white ones out front, 20 or so floodlights that light up the
Whoa.
whole property. It looks like the White House, but all the lights in the back are with Bluetooth remote control that have 16 different colors
Oh my
that they can
goodness.
rotate through. So, like
Wow.
for the Super Bowl, I did Kansas City red on one side and San
Mm-hmm.
Francisco 49er orangish brown on the other side. And then when the Chiefs won, I made the whole backyard red.
Yay.
For Christmas, I
Yay.
do one side green and one side red.
Yay. Now,
Uh,
I want to know
oh, I'm
how
sorry.
you fit into your neighborhood with all that lighting.
One neighbor said I was doing light pollution. He's actually still a good friend, even though he moved away. Um, I think most people would prefer them to be off just because that's what they do and that's what they do.
Mm-hmm.
There is one house right across the canal who has, and I walked Matrix over there the other week and I saw them more up close. It is LED strip lighting
Oh, I
along the
love
soffit
that.
and fascia of their house, all along
Yeah.
underneath
Yeah.
the edge of the roof.
Yeah. I love that.
And they first put it up either this summer or the summer before in June, right around Pride. And the whole month, it was all rainbow lighting.
Whoa.
I thought, wow, they got a gay in there somewhere. And they're all, lifted trucks, lifted pickup trucks. And
Oh
it's,
my.
it's a whole family, like mom and dad, and at least one or two sons or daughters and their family
Mm-hmm.
or their spouse lives there.
Mm-hmm.
The front driveway is always a parking lot.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of the two-story houses where the entire ground level is one big garage.
Wow.
Not one car is parked in the garage. That's how much other stuff they've got.
Gotcha.
Boats,
And
ATVs, you name it.
and and do you still suspect there's some gay there somewhere?
I don't know. Um, they've seen they're a little bit down. They're not right across from me. They're down the street a little bit, down the canal a little bit. They've seen me fly a rainbow flag because they've been out on their
Mm-hmm.
boat.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I don't know. Um,
Mm-hmm.
the guy
Well, it would be
right across
interesting to
from
know
me,
that.
the guy right across from me until recently has been flying a Trump flag, Trump 2024. So
Oh.
still on that one. I want to go over and introduce myself. His wife has waved. He has not. And
Speaking of that subject, and
yeah,
not that we need to go into it, but just to catch me up, for the week, you had on your list of things to do interviews with people who were Trump people to find out why. How has
yeah.
that gone for you?
I'm still contemplating what questions I want to ask.
Okay. So you haven't really started yet.
I
Okay.
haven't talked to anybody, but I've talked to people
Okay.
that I know are Trump supporters. Like one of my other work wives is in Tennessee, and she is much more. She doesn't. She think this is all weaponized government, and I'm
Mhm.
like, he's on video and audio incriminating himself, right? On probably some of the most serious charges there are.
Mhm.
Oh, that's he's or he's
He's just
joking. Yeah,
kidding. He's
yeah.
just
Like,
kidding.
really?
Yeah. Okay.
Third term? You think he's kidding?
Mhm.
When all of his
Anyway,
cronies
let's get
also
back.
won it? Yeah.
We'll
Don't
go
even
back
get
to
me
Ben.
started.
Yeah,
We're
we'll
gonna have
get
a
back to
fourth
Ben Franklin.
episode this week.
We are. Okay, so we both have challenges. Should we decide to name one of these? Order would certainly be one of mine. That would be an important one for me. Silence, temperance, not so much. Order, yeah. Resolution is number 4. Resolve to perform what you ought. Perform without fail what you resolve. So how's your resolution?
I think resolution here, from what I want to say, because of another quote that I have,
Ooh.
Anthony Melchiori from the TV show Hotel Impossible was a consultant to me when I started my own hospitality brand. And his famous quote is that I don't make resolutions, I make plans.
There you go.
And I kind of think that's actually what Ben is saying here, even though he's using the word resolution and
Okay.
resolve.
Okay.
Yet he's saying plan to perform what you should be performing.
And then
But he's
stick
using
to it.
the time
Yeah.
frame. Resolve has that meaning of plan instead of, oh, I'm going to make a New Year's resolution to go back to the gym and then never go back to the gym after you pay for your
Right.
$500 membership.
Right. Right. It's all the
Uh,
same.
I think
So,
so. I do that, and that's
I'm
part of
pretty
the
good
to
at
do
that too.
list. That's part
Mhm.
of 21 years of forming security plans for important people
Mhm. Mhm.
and creating motorcade routes,
Mhm.
how to get from point A to point B.
But on this, I'm pretty good too with this particular virtue, except that I am also willing to change plans. I'm flexible.
Yeah.
If in my lesson plans, I knew what I was going to do any particular day, but if something more important came up, I would at least consider making a change. And I always felt good about that.
I
You
think that
make a
we're skipping
plan.
one.
Yeah.
We're skipping one, but I think that's number 6, industry. Being able to
Lose
change and
Lose be always
adjust.
employed in something useful. Well, number 6, while we're there, is industry. Lose no time. Be always employed in something useful. Cut off all unnecessary actions. And that would mean I couldn't watch any of my favorite crappy TV shows that I love because they're all not useful, but I love them. Chicago Med,
Yeah,
Chicago Fire, Chicago PD. I
I
love all
think
those.
in modern times, that's
Yeah.
number 11. That's tranquility.
Yes, it is. Be not disturbed at trifles or at accidents, common or unavoidable. I'm pretty good with that. I'm pretty good with tranquility, actually.
Yeah,
Not 100% by any means, but maybe 85.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go back to number 5 is
Well, yeah, with number
frugality.
4,
Oh,
though, I do have some issues.
go ahead. Number
Like
4
those
again is
you were talking
resolution,
about. Yeah, like
planning,
planning what I ought, perform what I ought. Um, that pile of papers. There are
the
also some
dust.
tasks in there that I need to spend more time on, which is actually on the schedule for today and tonight. Um,
For me, it's
Getting
the dust
tax,
on my piano. Yeah,
getting the adoption finally completed.
right.
Um, this stuff's been sitting there with some corrections that the attorney needs to make, and I didn't send them back yet.
Mhm.
Some of it, causes some anxiety because of what the state of Florida has done over the past 2 years, or
Okay.
not done, as it were.
Mhm.
But you know, um, another quote: "Old Blue Eyes Um, what is his actual one? I think it's like nothing succeed. Oh. The best revenge is massive success.
Ah,
And
yes.
so when Zach and I have a family and the adoption is complete, but we are also financially stable without the financial aid they promised, piss off.
Hmm.
And I can't
Yeah.
wait for that to be completed where I can tell that story to thousands of people.
Whoa. Whoa. So plan in place to find that auditorium to share that story, I'm
Yeah,
sure.
that too.
Absolutely. Okay, so number four
Now
is
number six.
resolution.
Yeah.
Well, let's go to number
Or number
five.
five. Yeah. Sorry,
Number
sorry.
five, number five is frugality. Make no expense but to do good to others or yourself. Waste nothing. I'm pretty good with that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I recycle. I have a large bin that I bought from the city of Los
Mhm.
Angeles. That's one of the blue recycling bins that's on wheels.
Mhm.
And just ironically, right as I was planning to move here, two brand new bins show up on our curb. And I asked all of my surrounding neighbors, "Hey, did you order these? Are these yours?" And they're like, "No, I'm good." And nobody was looking for brand new, clean
Mhm. Mhm.
recycle bins, a recycle in a garbage bin. And I'm like,
Mhm.
"Well, I could use these to put things in."
Mhm.
And so yeah, they made their way with me here. Uh, in 1 week, we get garbage service twice a week, recycling
Oh,
only once.
okay.
But in that 1 week, that recycling bin is at least halfway to 2/3 of the way filled.
Wow.
That's how much we recycle. Like frozen vegetables, wash out the
Yeah.
plastic thing it came in and throw that in the recycling. It's plastic.
Absolutely.
Am I,
Yep.
am I thinking about, people say you can't recycle styrofoam. What if we recycled styrofoam and made other styrofoam?
How about that? Yeah. How
Yeah, it's
about
not
that?
that hard.
No.
So
But I
yeah,
think
I'm pretty
also
frugal
to
that way.
me, frugality. We're not spending money on things that we don't need.
I'm doing a
Not
lot better
that
with
we,
that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I get better at that the older I get because there are very few. There are fewer needs. Anyway,
I
so
hope
that's
this
number five.
changes.
Hmm?
I hope this changes. Um, I'm good at that with, other things in life except studio
Yes.
yergs.
Yeah. Speaking of
I've got
that, you made a
three other
purchase this weekend. Yeah.
I've got three other microphones just like this one for guests in the
Mhm.
studio.
Yeah.
I've had one
One
guest
gift.
in the 2 or 3 year history of studio yergs.
There
So
you go.
yeah, the chair was definitely a good investment. That's what I bought
Good.
this weekend.
Oh, okay.
And then the rearranging of the studio, but that's stuff
Right.
that was here already.
Gotcha.
But the chair, yeah,
Okay, so we did number six, industry, lose no time, be always employed in something useful, cut off all unnecessary actions. So we talked about that being tranquility. Number seven then is sincerity. Use no hurtful deceit. Think innocently and justly. And if you speak, speak accordingly. Sincerity.
yeah. I say I have a problem with that.
Oh, well,
Sometimes I'm a
explain.
little too sincere.
Oh, okay. And sometimes I am, what shall we say? I don't speak my mind. And in that, it's like withholding information, and there's an insincerity in there as well. Someone may do something or say something that I don't think is appropriate, and I won't call them out on it. I just
Yeah.
won't.
In law
So
enforcement, we call that,
in that way, I'm
yeah,
insincere.
yeah. In law enforcement, we call that a lie of omission.
That's right.
If
Yeah.
we're
I'm.
interrogating somebody and,
Mm-hmm,
they know they've got information that we want, but for
mm-hmm,
their own selfish reasons, they don't share it.
mm-hmm.
They know we want that
Now,
and they
now,
play dumb.
why is the intent important? My intent is commonly not to stir up more problems, not to create a defensive posture in someone I'm talking to. Is to try to get to the solution or to get to the understanding the problem and not bring in something else that may trigger. Or am I just, what do you say,
No, I think you're actually okay
rationalizing?
with it.
Rationalizing.
I think you're actually okay with it. While, you have the issue with the hurtful deceit,
Mhm.
that you share and you probably should. The rest of it is think innocently and justly.
There you go.
And I,
There
I
you
think
go.
you're actually fulfilling that. And if you speak, doesn't say that you have to. It just says
Good
if you
point.
speak accordingly. And you just decided not to, that the world will be better without it. And I think
Good point. Good point.
that's some good
Good point.
advice a boss of mine at the Secret Service gave me once. I was bitching about some shit, and he was kind of agreeing with me, but a bigger boss, was not of the same opinion. And he said, Yergs, ask yourself before you go public, meaning, make it
Yeah.
stink to bosses. Does it matter?
Mhm.
Does it really matter? And if the
And
answer
there
is
are other,
yes,
yeah.
well, if the answer is yes,
Hmm.
ask yourself again.
Really?
Yeah.
And there are other people have brought to me, is it necessary? Does it matter? Is it kind? And is it true? Those are the things that other people have suggested to me are important to ask oneself before one speaks, which
Yeah.
are that's good. Is it kind? Is it true? And in your case, as you say, does it matter? Good. Okay, number next. 8. Justice. Wrong none by doing injuries or omitting the benefits that are your duty. Justice.
You mean I think that would be kind of
Wrong.
some of the gossip,
What was that?
not gossiping.
There you go.
And I've
Yes.
never been a
Yes. Yeah. No.
I
I
need you to
no.
explain the second part of that. So, omitting the benefits that are your duty. That's a little wordy for me.
Okay. Let's say that I should. Let me think of an example that I should attend an event. That's part of my job,
Okay.
and maybe I don't. Maybe I have an excuse. Maybe I forget because I don't want to. The intent is, I think, is important there. Honestly, forgetting is one thing. Not being able to for one reason or another is something else, but intending not to do what you're supposed to do because it will help somebody else. Well, a perfect example is what is being talked about relative to the issues relative to immigration and the border. Even though
Yeah.
it is said that the Republicans, that the bipartisan group came up with a real good, what do you say, something about
A
immigration, and
bill.
the Republicans say, "No, we're not going to bill," and no, we're not going to do that because that would help Biden win the election. That would be an example of injustice under Ben Franklin. It seems to me that would be not doing a benefit that is their duty. Make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. That's good.
Yep. Moderation, I think we kind of hinted on that. That's number 9, moderation. Avoid extremes. Oh, but this part, forbear resenting injuries so much as you think they deserve. That's under moderation.
Like a personal level of cruel and unusual punishment.
You got it. Yep.
Yeah.
Holding grudges is in there, I would guess.
Yeah.
Punishing people on purpose because you've held on to a grudge. And there are quotes about that, holding what is it? Not forgiving somebody is like drinking poison and expecting it to harm somebody else.
Wow.
Good, huh?
Yeah.
Not being forgiving, holding on to resentment, and boy, do we have a lot of that running around. So, number 10 is cleanliness. Tolerate no uncleanliness in body, clothes, or habitation. I'm untidy, but I'm clean.
Yeah.
I would bet.
I've got a therapeutic confession to make.
Ooh.
Because I don't go to the gym right now, haven't since May.
Mm-hmm.
Because I rarely leave the house except to maybe get groceries. I probably shower maybe only 3 or 4 times a week.
um, okay.
And like right now, my hair, you can probably see my hair looks oily and it's long due for an oil change. But yeah, I just like, I get so busy here.
Yeah.
Like I love taking a hot shower,
Yeah.
but to keep the water bill down, I don't take long ones.
Yeah.
And I've never pushed Zach on his time because I know that was actually
Yeah.
something with him in foster care that he was limited and he didn't want to be.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Um, but he also does not take long showers. He just spends, the rest of the hour in the bathroom. Uh,
Mm-hmm. Right.
but uh, yeah, I gotta, and I would, with going to, and now that, I'm going back to the gym, that's going to change, obviously, or I hope it does.
Mm-hmm.
But having been in pro sports and high levels of amateur sports, having been to the gym and used things like steam rooms and saunas
Mm-hmm.
or chlorinated hot tubs,
Mm-hmm.
I oftentimes took 2, 3 showers a day.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I just don't feel like I need it.
Yeah. Well, you
Or I'm
probably don't.
so,
Well, do
yeah.
you want to hear that your friendly
I was woken up this
dermatologist?
morning, not by the sun, but by something else. And it wasn't the dog farting causing the odor either. Yeah, I think I know what you're going to say because my neighbor lady, not that she doesn't shower a lot, but she does. Like she knows that showering will kind of rinse off some of the
Mhm.
essential oils or necessary
That's right.
oils
That's right.
that keep you
That's right.
smooth and healthy.
Yep. 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 So it's, 2 or 3 times a week. That sounds about right. Anyway, the number
Oh no,
12
I don't
we've
feel so
already
bad.
discussed. No, number 12 we've already discussed. Well, after cleanliness is tranquility. Be not disturbed at trifles or at accidents common or unavoidable. And we've already kind of discussed that. Number 12 is chastity, which has no notes, as you pointed out, and I never did see that. That is funny. The final one is humility. Imitate Jesus and Socrates. Now, Jesus, I get, okay, love everybody. But we can talk a whole episode about what that really means. And I think we should. Not today, perhaps, but in another episode. I think we need to talk about number 13 a little bit more, what that means exactly in today's world,
Do
because
you
it's
want me to
complicated.
be a what? Do you
Hmm?
want me to be a what is that? Spoiler alert!
Yes, go ahead.
Spoiler alert! what I think he means there,
Okay.
what do they both have in common?
I would say integrity.
To an extent, they both
They have,
faced
yes.
they
Okay.
both faced
I'm,
their own execution
yes.
with
Okay.
dignity.
Yes.
You know,
Yes. They
Jesus
were
forgave the
willing.
Romans.
Yes. Yep.
Socrates fed himself the poison.
Right. Right. Rather than live in these times
And that's kind of a
in
humility.
in an untrue way with no integrity, I'd rather not live. Yeah. Okay. Sounds good. But I'd
What
like to
was
just, I'd
Socrates
like,
executed for?
what was that?
Was it heresy? Socrates, what was he executed for? Was it heresy?
Some form of, yes. Some form of. Um, but I should remember, but I don't remember the circumstances. We'll come
It
back
was
to
kind
that.
of sort of, I think, just in general speaking out.
Uh, yeah. He wasn't speaking the party line as I remember.
Yeah, yeah,
Hmm. It's
yeah.
Natalia. Hmm. Yep. It's very similar. Yeah. But the humility to think that, and the humility in there, can we read it as the world doesn't need me? Or because it, we can't read it as my death will inspire others to stand up for themselves. That's not humble, is it?
Yeah, no, I
The
don't. I
world
don't think it'll
needs me to
be.
die.
I don't think it. No, I don't think it's so much suggesting to be suicidal, so much as it's saying to get over yourself.
That's good. That's good. That's good. And I tell you what, and that feeds into a whole discussion that I had with a friend of mine on Saturday. I have a lot more to discuss, by the way. This has been a big
Yeah,
week.
yeah. Wow.
This has been a big week.
I've got
But I
till
was just,
3. Do we need a fourth episode this week?
no, we don't. We can,
Okay.
I, we can give this more thought, maybe. But
Okay.
what was I going to say? Oh, I had a discussion with a friend of mine on Saturday, and we talked about. I asked her. I said, "Name people that we know who do not let their egos get in the way of solving a problem." And it was kind of tough coming up with
Yeah.
names of people who are not humble. And that's what it boils down to me. I mean, the ego gets in the way of not wanting somebody else to succeed because that will make me look less. I will not have the importance that I like to assume about myself if I let the other person succeed in this particular thing. That's ego to me.
I've always said, the Secret Service is filled, obviously, with A-type personalities,
Mm-hmm.
go-getters,
Yeah,
self-starters.
yep, yep, yep,
But the problem with that is so often there's the I got to do it. My way's
yep,
better. I got to show the
yep,
boss how awesome I am.
yep,
And I always said that sometimes the best A-type personality is the one who takes a step back.
yep, yep.
And that I think that's a is that uh I think that's a Steve Jobs or something about leadership
Mm-hmm.
isn't about um being the best, but bringing the best people together.
There you go. There you go. Yep.
I'll have to find that because I'm taking notes for next week so
Oh,
that we don't
good.
forget. Yeah.
Now listen,
Ego, humility.
we must have been talking over 40 minutes for this one.
Yeah, this one's approaching 50.
So we are going to save whatever we ended with here for our next episode. And then I need to talk to you about a group I joined. This is an introduction for next week, too.
Okay.
I came across, well, our buddy Craig. Let me put it that way. I'll
Yeah.
start at the beginning. Our buddy Craig submitted an essay for the Boyertown Area Expression in which he talked about the decline in church attendance. And he said, what are we going to put in its place to help people develop a moral code if we are losing the influence of churches? And I responded to him by saying, that's a really good question, and one that troubles me as well. What are we going to do? How can we, help people develop a good moral code, self-discovery, and all that community building and moral codes? And I said, I need to go back and reread C.S. Lewis's books. His one book entitled Mere Christianity, and another book entitled The Screwtape Letters. And the Screwtape Letters are about a big deal demon talking to his nephew, a lower level demon, about how to keep people on their journey to hell. We need to make sure that they get there. Okay. So the higher level demon by the name of Screwtape is giving his nephew hints about how to keep people from being good people. Okay. Well, I told Craig I need to reread those two books because Mere Christianity offers an apology to people who are thinking, why should I be a Christian? And he offers some suggestions about why you might want to be, and some objections or some discussion to people who object to Christianity. Anyway, they're really well-reasoned pieces of literature that I hadn't read in decades. Well, don't you know, after I submitted that email to Craig, a few hours later comes this flyer from a Baptist church in Pottstown saying they're having a 6-week discussion of the Screwtape Letters beginning yesterday. So I felt that the universe was listening to me, and I really needed to get to those discussions because there it was, So yesterday, Craig and my friend Sandra and I went to the first discussion of the Screwtape Letters. And I have to tell you, the suggestions that Screwtape was giving to his nephew Wormwood reminded me of the Republican Party platform. Or not their platform, their playbook. And we can get to that a little bit more next week.
I think you texted me a page or something from that, too.
I did.
Yeah.
Meanwhile,
yeah.
I'm Jane
I've got
Stahl.
great notes for next week. And I'm Jurgs.
And you are. And this is Both Sides Now.
Both Sides Now.
So there we
You
go.
there?
We did 3.
Okay. Yeah.
We did 3.
You froze, so I'll have to go back and listen to see
and
if we were in better sync this time.
Yeah, we were in terrible sync this time. You want to try it again or not? You don't need to.
We can.
I'm sure we'll be fine.
Yeah, I can edit this in. I can edit this in. This is a better one. Yeah.
All right. I'm Jane Stahl.
Go ahead.
I'm Jane Stahl. And this is.
And I'm Jurgs.
And this is Now.
Yeah, we're sucking.
I know. And we keep freezing. Yes.
We got to do. Oh, is that what it is? Okay. I'm just doing it on. I'm kind of relying on the upload to be in better condition.
Okay. Yeah, I keep getting messages across the top of my screen that our internet connection is not good for some reason.
Okay, that means it's on your end.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. That means it's your internet connection that's doing it because I don't get that. I've had that message before too, and that means it's mine. But okay, one more. Take 5.
And I'm Jane Stahl.
And I'm Jurgs.
And this is Both Sides Now.
Now. That's a wrap.
Yeah, whatever.